Welcome to the Fat Fueled Family Podcast, where every week Danny and Maura Vega discuss topics that help families live a healthy and active lifestyle with their little ones, including nutrition and training, peaceful parenting, education, and mindset. To stay up to date, make sure to hit subscribe on this podcast and check out the blog at www.fatfueled.family. You can also find them on Facebook and Instagram at dannyvega.ms, at fatfueledmom, and at fatfueledkids, and Fat Fueled Family on YouTube. Enjoy the show.
What's up, everybody? I hope everyone's doing well. We have an awesome episode for you today. We have my buddy, Cody Zulfer. Cody is someone who I love this guy, man. He's been around since, I think I was one of the first, I think we talk about this in the podcast. I was one of the first carnivore accounts that he followed, and we've met in a bunch of meetups. Whenever we have had an event, he's come. And so I've just always loved his creativity. And I was one of the people that was just really bothering him, like, man, you need to come out with a recipe book. And as soon as he did, I was just so happy for him, and I promoted it. You guys may have seen it. But I want to give you guys some background before we get into our conversation, because he has a really cool story. So Cody Zulfer has a background in competitive surfing and has also been a competitive Brazilian Jiu-jitsu practitioner for the better part of a decade. Cody has suffered from epilepsy since high school. From then until his son was about 2 years old, he was having almost daily seizures, some days multiple seizures. Doctors were never able to pinpoint the root cause, and he was also what they called a non-responder to medications, leaving every day a gamble of life. After his son was born, he pushed his jiu-jitsu training to the side and focused on raising his son. Unfortunately, his diet went downhill and he was gaining weight, and a host of issues that came along with that. Arthritis, digestive issues, depression, and his energy levels tanked. The worse his diet got, the worse his seizures became, and neither he nor his doctors understand the correlation. All of this was happening as his son was growing into a very active toddler, and he wanted to run and play all the time, but Cory had lost the ability to play with him because his body hurt all the time and he had zero drive. He needed to change, so he started off with fasting. Then he moved into keto quickly after. Keto bridged the ignorance gap by bringing his seizures to a halt. He also dropped around 30 pounds in 9 months, but some problematic issues remained, a majority of which were digestion-related. Around that time, he began hearing more and more about the carnivore diet, and he learned about the complications plant toxins and anti-nutrients could have on the body, contrasting with how rich in vitamins and other beneficial nutrients animal-based proteins and fats really are. Once he gave it a try, he was hooked, and within 3 months, he dropped another 50 pounds and went from 15% body fat down to 10% and was putting on lean muscle at the same time. His digestive issues disappeared, his depression faded away, and he felt great. As for his son, he had gradually taken out the majority of socially accepted food and snacks an average kid is expected to have. Being an epileptic, he was concerned his son could develop it as well. Cody wanted his son as close to meat-based as possible, but he also wanted him to have fun and enjoy his food. That's when he got to thinking, how can I create food the average person would consume regularly, but make them carnivore-based? Whether it's zero carbs or very low carb, he really wanted to create forms of the standard American style food people love, but make them healthy and beneficial to consume. Everything Cody did was for his son because he wanted to be a better dad. He didn't want to be the obese guy sitting on the couch like a giant shadow of the guy he used to be. He wanted to be the best he could be for him. Cody had never cooked anything before he started keto, but he had always loved the Food Network and cooking shows. He would study cooking techniques by watching and learning from them, and then adapted the recipes he saw them creating into carnivore forms, and through the trial and error, he perfected them. In this episode, Cody's son, we talk about his son. He actually prefers the carnivore versions of his favorite foods as opposed to the fast food and prepackaged ones. It's Cody's hope that you and your family will fall in love with them, as well as you taste how incredibly delicious they are. They're nourishing, healthy, and work for your body instead of against it. Guys, I can attest to this. I think if you go to, oh my gosh, now I should have remembered the website, but we're going to put it in the episode notes. It is bio-optimized keto. There's no two O's in that. It's just one O. So bio-optimizedketo.com. That's where you're going to get the ultimate carnivore cookbook. And let me tell you guys, this thing is freaking awesome. Like, I've already made the tortillas. I've made a few of the different things. And like what we want to do is we want to try to do one of these recipes a week with the boys because it's fun to make them. And it's like, it's just getting your kids involved with it. It's just always fun. So I love it because he's going to talk about all of the, just the struggles he had with getting these recipes right. And if you are looking for a carnivore type cookbook that, even with organ meats makes everything delicious, I don't know of a better cookbook. I'm dead serious. Like he's got all these different types of like kind of like carnivore comfort food stuff, which I'm like all about because I love food. I'm a big foodie. So we hope you enjoy this episode, guys. Hey everybody, I just wanted to take a quick minute to talk about our sponsor, Keto Brick. As you guys know, I have been around since the very beginning when it was just an idea, when Robert was getting ready for the show that took him pro and he needed something to help him hit his macros. And I've seen it grow into the company it is today. Just so proud of my friend, and I'm so proud of the company he's built, the people he's been able to help, as he has several people who work for them. And so he's actually helping people make a living doing this now, which is just unbelievable and so inspirational to me. If you don't know what Keto Bricks are, they are shelf-stable fat bombs, for lack of a better term. They are 1,000 calorie bricks, and they have great ingredients. They have ketogenic macros, usually like 88 to 90 grams of fat with 30 grams of protein, and then the carbs are anywhere from 9 to 14. Super low carb, super keto friendly, and you can do all types of cool stuff with them. I tell everybody my favorite is Keto Brick cereal. I chop it up into little chunks and serve it with a bowl of cereal with almond milk or goat milk, which is my favorite. They have several flavors. They now have vegan and whey options. So they have the whey protein peanut butter as well as the old school pea protein peanut butter, which either one of them is easily in my top two. Go back and forth between those and the toasted almond coconut. So definitely go to www.ketobrick.com, get yourself some bricks, and use Vega for a chance to win a whole month supply of bricks. What's up, dude? How you been, man? It's been what, 5 days, 3 days?
A few days.
Yeah. I saw you last Friday. So yeah, been 3 days. Made it back over to the East Coast and just been hanging out. Weather's been colder than I like it to be.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
I was kind of bummed. Like, I was like, that's it. Like, once you make the switch in your head, you're like, that's it, I'm done. I'm like ready to go in the sun. I thought I was going to be able to go in the sun yesterday, and then it's like rainy and cold and overcast, and I'm like, no, why? So it's actually nice out today.
She's going to take the boys to the pool. So I might
go to the pool. I'm not going to get in. It's not even close to being ready for Florida girl. It's got to be bath water for me to care. It has to be like warm. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm a baby. Like even with like my surfing background, I take the winters off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you
or
wear?
If not, you better get me a wetsuit.
Yeah. Do you wear wetsuits?
Serious wetsuit.
I do, but I dislike them really strongly.
It's still cold too.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm still freezing.
Your feet and your hands, they still get cold, and if it's a windy day, you get like windburn on your face in the cold.
Oh,
That's the worst.
Sounds terrible. I hate being cold. I'm always complaining. Danny keeps our house nice and freezing. Yeah, he says he's trying to preserve me, he says.
Yeah. Keep her nice and young.
It's literally like 60 something degrees in here at all times.
No, during the day. Actually, I meant to
Well, sometimes you forget, and then I'm like, why am I freezing?
Yeah, because
I go and it's 67, and I'm like, 67, what is going on?
Yeah, it's good to sleep in, and I do that all the time when I wake up and you're just doing your normal routine, and then you hear the AC kick on. You're like, oh no.
You're like, no.
It's time to warm up.
Yeah, to sleep it's fine, but then in the morning, like I borderline even need to put the heater.
Sometimes he does put the heater.
So that it could just get warm. Because if it's cool outside, where it's been cooler these days, the house won't warm up. If you just let the air...
It's amazing.
It won't warm up. It won't. It'll stay 67 degrees in here.
Yeah, that's one thing I do like about like the weather it's been. I just like sit with my front and back door open and just let the breeze come through.
That's nice.
That is awesome, dude.
It's like fresh air. You're not getting this like recycled air.
And by the way, I'm assuming like you do you spend a lot of time in Cocoa Beach? Like where do you surf?
Yeah. Right now, me and my son, we're spending like most of our time out in Cocoa Beach.
Nice.
Yeah, I figure that's the best place to surf.
Well, what about, how far is that from where, so we went primitive camping one time a few years back, and it was near Sebastian, and that was wild. I didn't even know that existed on the East Coast.
Yes, so Sebastian has a really good wave, but it's only because of the inlet.
The inlet, yeah.
And then Cocoa Beach really actually isn't that good for surfing. It's good for learning how to surf, but it's a weak wave. But up here where I live, Titusville, which is like the north side of the Cape.
Yeah, I know Titusville.
We have Playa Linda, and Playa Linda is a very strong wave, and it's really good. But the worst thing is Florida itself. Like a Point Break is the best wave you can get in the world, because the wave will start at one point and go down the coast, so you'll be able to catch like a really long wave. The only one that exists is the north side of the Cape, but it's owned by the military and NASA.
So nobody can get. So you can't even get in there.
Anybody there. Yeah,
man,
that stinks.
You gotta hold off. You gotta be able to launch all those fake rockets and stuff. What? What?
Wait, what? Oh goodness, you're gonna get us flagged.
Oh no, not the conspiracy.
We're gonna have to give a name for good old NASA.
Oh, NASA. What about
you guys?
What about the real world? We'll call it the real world.
I almost want to start a newish podcast.
Just to talk about
just
gravy.
To get banned, yeah. One that I don't mind getting banned, you know, because like
talk.
we worked,
and we won't even put our real names. We'll just
no. I'm not. Nobody will know, you know. And then it won't matter if we get banned because it's not this podcast.
Welcome to Gravy Talk, where everything is fake.
Everything is gravy.
Well,
okay.
Dude, yeah, let's get into this.
Well, we are super pumped. We're happy
we got here for a reason. So this is
we're
stuff.
excited to get into this conversation. So, Cody, we always lead with the question, what is the most critical problem you are currently trying to solve?
So the biggest thing that I'm trying to fix and address right now is like the dogmatic thinking that is so popular in our space, it's in every side, like the bodybuilding space.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Keto space, the carnivore space. Everybody just has such a dogmatic way of thinking. And if we can just focus on just being healthy, no matter how you come at it, then things would be way better. We don't need to be conflicting with everybody all the time.
Yeah, man. I think it's
totally
so weird.
Agree.
Yeah, it's so weird how people.
It's not though, because honestly, I've gotten caught up in that. So it is weird, but it's not. Because I've gotten caught up in that even.
But
like
would you say that
the dogmatic thinking where like all vegetables are terrible all the time.
Exactly.
And I mean, I'm a pretty fast learner.
Yeah, I guess that's when you learn something new right away.
Yeah,
you get excited
about it. I've never truly thought that everyone needs to go vegetable free. I've never believed that. But even just within my own lifestyle, I get dogmatic with myself, if that makes sense, where I'm like, oh well, I can't ever eat this ever again, when that's not even true, right? So
yeah, I've done it, man. Like I was strict carnivore for 2 years, and like I maybe only needed to be strict carnivore for about 6 months to resolve like most of my issues, but my mindset didn't change, and I definitely caught myself like trying to convince people that they should, whether or not they were having any issues to begin with. And that's a very dogmatic way of thinking. And it hindered some of the learning that I could have, even though it was promoted from learning in the first place. So it's really just something that I'm really passionate about right now, is just trying to break down those walls and get people to just focus on the betterment of just being healthy, no matter how you come about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's part of it is like, you tribalism part where, you know, people start to feel like they're part of something. Like, wow, like look at this cool thing I found that, you know, I've gotten healthier on it and I feel awesome. And it's kind of like in my crew and my, you know, circle, it's kind of popular. And God forbid, you know, I create this plate and I just so happen to have like whatever, some cabbage, whatever it is that
an avocado,
and
God forbid.
I put it on a different plate because I'm taking a picture, and I'm not going to put it on the plate because I feel like my tribe is going to scold me. And I've never been that way. I've never.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, because you find comfort when you get into this space, whether it's like keto or carnivore. The community is very welcoming. Everybody becomes very loving and friends. So then you become scared to like share something that might go against what you found comfort in. So like when after the cookbook, I started playing around with vegetables to like make different dishes. And I haven't posted most of them because for a while I was like nervous about the backlash that I might get from the people who look up to me for just carnivore stuff. And so it's a mental thing for sure. And it's weird how it can limit you.
Well, let's think about this. You found me on Instagram, and then I found you. And you found me because I was a quote unquote carnivore, right? You were probably getting into it. You're like, oh, look, here's this carnivore guy. He's doing it, right?
Yeah. You're the first keto guy I actually met.
Oh, cool, dude. Yeah, dude, Cody's been coming to all the meetups for years, man.
Yeah,
we've been seeing him for years. And then like, but like you've seen me, like I've changed things, and some people will say, I thought you were carnivore. You know, and I dealt with that in like 2018 because I started in 2017, and then it had been like a year from like August to like September of the next year where I had gone strict carnivore, and then I was basically like started to do. I had a period there where I was doing like several months of like crushing peanut butter and nut butters. In general, keep me away from nut butters. It's sad, but it's like sucks, man, because I love them. But no control around them.
Yeah, zero. Dude, I'm the same way. If I let that valve release, it's going down.
Lock it down.
Yeah, it's going.
So like, you know, we all change, and I love what you said, because like I think now people are starting to learn more about eating more meat and all that stuff, and that's important. So like let's all be on the same. I was on a it was like a summit, an online summit with a vegan, and we were both agreeing on certain things. Like, you know, we were agreeing that you know, we're both on the same mission, trying to get people healthier. There's going to be some people, I'm going to say try my way, and then you're going to say try your way, and then one of them's going to work better, and then whichever one works better, it's fine. And then it's not like, okay, put a win in the column for Danny. No, it's not how it works, you know? So
yeah,
but
exactly. The person has to win. Like whoever you're telling is the one that has to win. For it to matter. If
it's not a competition.
Exactly. And it's not a competition, right? And even with that being said, like I understand personality types too. So I mean, don't get me wrong. If there's people and they're having symptoms, I'm gonna 100% say you should probably try carnivore, just because I know it seems, and you know, like it's restrictive. My mentality and my perspective is very opposite from that, because to me, being restricted is when I'm having symptoms, because a lot of my symptoms are restrictive to me.
Yeah.
So to me, it's more restrictive to be there to be having migraines all day and depressed and all that stuff. So, but you know, not everyone has to do that. And if it's gonna like make you, if it's not going to work for you because you're going to feel restricted, then it's better to approach it a different way and not be, super dogmatic about it, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because I've gone through like phases where I've been like a super stickler about like every ingredient on here needs to be like
me too,
ace, or it's nothing. And like, it's like,
it's trash.
When you're dealing with like somebody who just needs to like grab something at a grocery store or a GNC or something just to keep them on the right track, you gotta like you can't be so crazy. You can't be like such a stickler, like a dogmatic way of mindset. Like it's great you know what ingredients are better than the other ones, but you also have to know that you have to change your mindset a little bit around accessibility and convenience and things like that.
Yeah, especially with
be
meat.
realistic.
You know, eat the meat that you can afford and that you like,
Mm-hmm.
and that you like.
Yeah.
You know, grass-fed meat's going to be best, but if you can get 3 pounds of normal meat for the same price and you're a little tight on the budget, that's perfectly fine as well.
Yeah, and then there's like it to me it's better. Like if I had to make the choice, I'm going to 100% pick Walmart meat over organic bread. Do you know what I mean? Because I know that that's not gonna work. I don't care how organic it is. I'm gonna be miserable. So for me, it's miserable. Like organically miserable. Yeah.
But dude, let's back this up, man, because you have an awesome story. You started experiencing seizures in high school, and you have this whole kind of story about, you know, how you came to be where you are now. So tell us about your initial experience with the seizures, you know, what that led to, how it changed, you know, your activity levels, then becoming a dad, and then, you know, that whole evolution.
Yeah, so in high school I started having seizures at a like what seemed like nowhere, uh, through like slight like regression with doctors. We've kind of determined that maybe I had like absence seizures when I was a child, which is kind of like just where you stare off into space and people just kind of think you're just like zoned out, but I might not have been there. But I first started having real seizures where I would like go unconscious and have the violent shakes in high school. And like I said, they were out of nowhere, seemingly. No doctors. I had several CAT scans. There was no tumor ever found that was causing it. Nothing that would lead them to believe there was anything triggering them that wouldn't have earlier. So they try a series of different medicines. I don't remember the names of them, but I would do a few months of each round and nothing worked. Like, not at all. And so I just stopped taking them. I stopped going to get CAT scans because there was nothing new ever found. I did sleep studies, brain studies, and nothing ever came about it. So I just got tired of being like poked and prodded, and I was just going to deal with it. So I was in high school. I didn't really care. Like I didn't have any future like outlook on it. I didn't even realize like how life threatening every day might be having seizures. And then they just I kind of just dealt with it and just went about with my life. And then I met my ex-wife. We had my son, and I stopped training jiu-jitsu because I had to help out. And when I stopped training, I was basically just staying at home, taking care of the kid, and I didn't know how to cook or anything. So we're just eating out all the time, eating fast food. So I start gaining weight, my diet's out the window, and my seizures just get worse and worse to the point where now I'm having multiple seizures a day most of the time. It was rare that I went one day without any. And when you average it out, so days where I had like 5 or 6, like, so it was just that was very stressful on everybody. Like, I hated waking up either in the hospital or with EMTs around me. Like, it was embarrassing. It had happened so many times that I was over it. And beyond that, the stress of just like what brain damage could be happening, when the possible last seizure might be.
It's also dangerous. I feel like,
Yeah.
like you could be in the shower. You could be in the shower. You could fall and like injure yourself.
Yeah, I live in a 2-story townhouse, and I had a seizure and fell down the stairs one time.
Goodness.
So it was just very, very stressful. And I started gaining weight, like I said. And while that's going on, my son's just getting older. He started walking at 6 months. And so like by like 9 months, he's like running. And so like by a year and a half, he's like really wanting to play. Like, and at this point, it's a year and a half of plus of me not training and just eating junk food. So now I've gone from 125 to 200 pounds. And I'm a very small person. So 200 pounds on my like 5'4", 5'5" frame was a lot of stress. My joints swelled. I had arthritis. I barely wanted to go up and down my stairs. So I would find myself just laying on the couch most of the day, continuing eating junk food, just indulging in my like depression. And I got tired of it. As I'm seeing my son get older, all I ever wanted to be was a good dad. So I knew I needed to fix something. And that's when I started hearing about fasting and the gut biome and ultimately keto. So first I started with fasting. Then I'm like, while I'm doing fasting, because that was pretty easy to understand, I didn't really need to know too much about fasting. It's just not eating.
Don't eat.
And then while I'm doing that, I'm like trying to figure out what keto is, because I had never heard about keto before. And all of a sudden I'm hearing it like every other day. So I start like figuring it out, and I'm like, well, I guess it's pretty close to fasting, and most keto people fast. I'm already fasting, might as well. So then I start doing that. And after a few weeks, I realized like it's been a couple of days since I had a seizure, man.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. And then like just still no seizures. A week later, still no. And here at like almost 4.5 years later, like no seizures.
Incredible. Unreal.
So then you go from keto to carnivore, because you lost what? Like you lost 20, 30 pounds like in a few months.
Probably right after that,
or the first 6, 7 months, 8 months.
Yeah, I lost about 30, 35 pounds, and it would kind of fluctuate on those last numbers. It would go up and down, but it took me about like 9 months on keto, and I dropped that. But I really didn't resolve everything. Like I stopped having seizures, which was amazing, and that helped a lot of my depression, but not all of it. And I still had a lot of stomach issues because I was eating these giant raw salads. Like that was like right when I met you, Danny. You were like on this like Mediterranean diet kick.
Dude, I was doing the big salads with Robert Sykes. Yeah, it was all about like getting that volume in.
Do you remember where
I was doing the same thing. I was making these giants.
Me too, Cody. That's how I ended up carnivore, eating those big old salads. I was like, what's wrong with me? I'm barfing every day. I was literally barfing. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was eating these giant salads and washing it down with like a tube of macadamia nuts.
Oof. That already hurts my stomach.
My stomach was messed up, and I didn't know. I thought I was doing keto right.
You think it's healthy?
Yeah,
and it
for
is.
some
It
people
is healthy. Like it is healthy. Like they're healthy foods.
Yeah.
But man, if you're just eating nonstop salads and macadamia nuts,
remember that's,
expect to look pregnant. Like I don't know what to say.
We just had Brad Kearns on, and he writes a lot of books with Mark Sisson, and I think I was the first person to tell him about Carnivore. He when I first told him about it,
he was like, "What?"
He was like, "What are you talking about?" Like. And because they were all about the big ass salad, like that's Mark Sisson's things, the big ass salad.
Yeah.
And it's taking them years to say, and they admit it.
They're here now.
They're the best. Yeah, like they, a true person like who can like identify, like evolve things, from their thoughts and just kind of get some more context. That's a genuinely good person or at least they're able to learn.
You have to remain.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like we all. I don't care who you are. I don't care how smart you are. You're only as smart as,
I guess how
as you're able to remain a student.
Yeah.
Because to me, the smartest people know that they don't know anything at all.
Yeah.
And the more that I learn, the more I feel like I don't know anything. So
yeah.
Yeah, we're forever students, man, and that's something
always.
like from jiu-jitsu and stuff. You're never going to stop learning.
Yep, always a white belt. So then you go to Carnivore, and that like basically triples your
success.
Yeah, because I mean you get all the gut issues,
and so you're able to get off medications.
I stopped taking medications a long time ago.
Okay, so like when the seizures stopped, you were like, okay, let me just.
Yeah, the medications never worked for any of the seizures.
No, he stopped in high school.
Oh, because they never even worked for the seizures.
What do you call that? Resistant?
Yeah. Like a non-responder.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so that's like 30% of all patients, right? As like non-respond, or maybe it's more, but
I've heard that before.
I think it might be a little bit more, but yeah, it's pretty common for people to not react to any of the medicines, and I forgot to mention, all the brain specialists and seizure guys never once said anything about keto.
That's so
like I said, I never heard keto until I heard it on like the JRE podcast when I found out about fasting.
This kills me.
But you know what? I ran into a neurologist.
Kills me.
I ran into a neurologist in like 2018 in Tampa.
Oh, I know. I was with you.
Oh, you were with me.
Fresh Kitchen.
I was like, I saw it.
Yeah, we asked them now.
Dude, I straight up walked up to him. I was like, do you guys mention diet at all? He's like, oh yeah, we talk about ketogenic diets. I was like, oh, thank God.
Well, of all the doctors, those are of all the doctors out there, the only ones that do talk about it are the neurologists and the ones who deal with seizures. But even then, it's still a small percentage, and it's so crazy to me.
But that's like a quick, like, hey, you become a hero in a second.
Like, dude, like with the amount of people that don't respond to medication, how many seizures people that have epilepsy actually have in a day? I mean, that is a wild, where a little change in diet, it obliterated your seizures. Like, it's like they didn't come back. So it's just wild to me.
Yeah, and it's nuts. And like, I have not stayed true to like what they consider like a ketogenic diet for treating epilepsy is at all.
Oh yeah, like that's a low protein, right? Really high fat, 90% fat.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because they do high fat.
They do something nuts, like 70% has got to be fat.
Yeah.
And it's just ridiculous. I've tried it, and I do not feel good.
Yeah, it's all that extra rendered fat that you got to take in.
Yeah, and I'm small, so for me to hit like my daily protein that I want to do with competing, to then like get 70% more than that of fat, like that's so many calories.
So full. Yeah.
Gotcha, man.
Yeah.
So we've already gotten to the point where you did Carnivore. You lost like double the weight in like a third of the time.
Yeah. So like as soon as I adopted Carnivore, it was actually, I remember the day I was at Ryan's place at the Aspie.
Oh yeah.
And I used his InBody, and it said that I was like
InBody or the DEXA.
No. I did the in body that he just had in one of the rooms.
Okay, because he has a DEXA too. That I was wondering. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I just like got on it really quick because it takes like only like a minute or something like that on the in body, and you just type it in.
Yep.
And it was like it said I was like almost 16% body fat, and I was like, as far as like vanity wise, I was kind of like, this isn't what I want. Like my weight, my numbers on keto hadn't moved, so I was like, well, let's do this carnivore thing that I keep hearing about. I know that these like plant toxins. I had already read about it, knew a little bit about it, but I just hadn't brought it in yet. And I was like, well, here we go. And within 3 or 4 months, I had dropped my body fat all the way down to like 10.
Awesome.
It was nuts. I shredded up instantly. Any inflammation I still had was gone. My digestion like flipped in reverse completely. So everything basically felt great. And because all of that went away, my mood was so much better. I was so much happier. It was just like really probably the best thing that I could do.
I love it, dude. And then you started playing with the recipes. And
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because like I liked everybody's posts on Instagram, and I like at that point I think I only had like 500 followers on Instagram. So I was just playing around. I was like, let's start posting food. And after a week or so, I realized, okay, it's just steak and eggs pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to post something interesting. The things that like I like to see. Like if I go over to my Explore, all the cool foods that are full of carbs and stuff that I like to look at.
Colorful. It's colorful.
Yeah.
So like,
I know. That's why I don't post my food either. People are like, why don't you post your food? I'm like, you want to see the same burger again? And eggs? It's the same
so
thing.
boring.
I'm so boring. Yeah. Very
boring. So yeah, it was that. And like my son, he never once complained. Like he loves steak and he loved all the food that we were making. But I wanted him to have fun. Like, because he sees normal food on TV, like on a TV show, cartoons always show foods. He's like, what's that? So, so I just started making it, just playing around, doing the best that I can. Like, I didn't know how to cook before keto. And when I started keto, there wasn't a million products available at the grocery store. So you had to learn how to make food. And so when I started Carnivore, I was still kind of an amateur chef. I knew how to cook a steak pretty well. I knew how to make some burgers, but that was basically it. And so I just started really studying food techniques off like TV shows. Like Food Network taught me almost everything I know.
That's amazing. I love that.
That's amazing.
I love that.
I would just study people, like the way they would chop their food, the way they would prepare it, the order in which things were made. So I was just like, okay,
thank you.
Like me.
I'm smart enough to like know what things are bad that they're using, and I can kind of figure out
You substitute.
Replace that with. Yeah, exactly. So that's just what I started doing. That's kind of like where the corn dogs and the bread.
I love it.
All kinds of.
I want one of those corn dogs.
I think the first thing I did was pizza.
Pizza.
Yeah. Danny knows all about that one.
I love it, dude.
So
we haven't
good.
had that in a while. We gotta.
What did you use for the crust? Like chicken?
Yeah, it's chicken and cheese. But
we were doing that a long time ago, like with the paleo. Remember? We did chicken crust.
Yeah, we did turkey.
Yours is probably way better.
No, back then, remember
Mine
we
is
did ground turkey and it was dry.
Oh, disgusting.
That was the paleo days. It was 10 years ago, basically, almost.
Yeah, I've done the ground turkey one too. The same recipe that I use for my chicken works pretty well with the ground turkey.
Okay.
Because they're both really lean. Like the ground meat that you start with for my recipe is both really lean. So it works similarly. But yeah, the turkey one is a bit like mealier.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it was. And I don't think we had cheese in our crust.
Yeah, I've got dairy-free crusts too, because some people, like, I remember you made one of my crusts and you had like some pretty bad issues, you said.
Oh yeah, what was it, dude? I remember, dude. What was it?
Yeah. I think you got like,
dude, oh my gosh, that was, dude, I blamed your crust, dude. It was not your crust.
What
That
was it?
okay.
freaking Buttpocalypse 2019.
Oh, disgusting.
I didn't want to say it.
Dude, that was not your crust. That was me waking up, dude. That was me waking up in the middle of the night, half asleep, and
It was
thinking,
already there though, but it wasn't the crust. It's
Yeah.
stress. It's a ton of stuff.
I had
so.
stress, and I thought that I had something stuck there,
And you
so
have a horrible GI, to be honest.
tried to push something out, and I just created a terrible situation.
Apocalypse, yeah.
Yeah, I just
awake.
remember
Dude, I
you
forgot
made
about
a
that.
video. You made a video and you shouted me out, almost
No, I
blaming
can't.
me.
I can't. Only Danny would do that. Like, how embarrassing is he? To his 50,000 followers, 50 plus, whatever, however many it is. He's like, hey guys.
I've had
Just
people
want
tell
you
me.
to
I've
know.
had people tell me like, I was kind of put off by your Buttpocalypse thing, and
Oh
I'm like,
my
listen, bro,
gosh.
this is real life. This ain't no fake life. This is,
I bet you so many people, though, were like, oh my gosh, thank God I'm normal. Because it's probably more common than we
Dude,
think.
thank God I haven't.
For sure,
had it
all the
since.
women were like,
Welcome to my life.
welcome to my life. Get out of here. You're weak. I'm like, oh, it hurts
No
that
way, dude.
bad.
Rectal spasms is the worst thing you could ever.
Yeah,
it's
the
like a lightning
spasms
bolt
are
in your
bad.
butt. It's
Yeah.
the worst.
Yeah.
I literally was crying.
Yeah, it's bad.
Oh man.
All types of nerve things going on where
Yeah, it's bad.
oh, dude, it was brutal.
It's bad.
So yeah, man, you've come a long way, man. And well, I'll let you ask the next question, my love, because I know. Well, I guess we talked about.
Well, no,
that.
did we talk? We talked about the recipes,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, so we talked about. You also mentioned the fact that your son, which by the way, guys, his son's adorable.
Oh, he's the cutest.
And
How old
he's
is he
just
now?
always smiling.
5, right?
Yeah, he's 5.
5 is magical, by the way. 5 is
Five
a
was
really
magical
good age.
with us
Yeah.
for Des too. Like, but
I feel like for Dean, 6 is maybe a little bit more magical
there's more magical times at 6 than there
than
were.
5. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was so a little cray.
It's not fully magical. It's magical, but there's dark magic and
He makes you pay work
black
for it.
magic and white magic, both. Okay, so yeah, guys, yeah, his son is adorable, and he's never not smiling. I've never seen him not smiling. It's the weirdest thing ever. He's just a very happy kid. And so you adapted all these recipes, and I'm just kind of curious because you said that he wasn't really complaining. So you had already put those guardrails up because you were concerned possibly that he could be inheriting something from you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and so I guess because he had that good base, there wasn't really an adjustment to make. But were there anything that you can pass on to parents who, kind of are trying to get on the same page? They've gotten healthy and now they're trying to get their kids on board. We always ask, I think it's important because people deal with it,
Yeah, this is definitely a big thing that I like to help people out with. So, like I said, I was married. And so when I started doing keto, it wasn't like I could just make him do it and make the family do it.
Yeah.
My ex-wife, she doesn't really have any issues. She's healthy-ish, but she eats junk food. So she just eats like a standard American diet, and her parents are the same way, and they're the grandparents because I don't have family, so they're the grandparents around my son. So everybody around just saw me doing some weird, crazy thing that nobody's ever heard of. Like I said, when I started it was before all the commercials, all the packages at the store saying keto on them. So it wasn't I could just make him do it. So for the first year or so that I was doing it, nobody wanted me to have him do it because they thought I was doing something radical. Like, it's cool, I'm seeing benefits, but who knows what it really is. And so
it's so mysterious.
But at the same time, everybody also wanted to say that they were worried about my son possibly having seizures because I have seizures. But they weren't.
You're like, well, then should he do the diet then?
Yeah, they weren't. They weren't convinced that the diet was what helps my seizures.
Wow.
I don't know.
Five a day to nothing. No, can't be.
That's a strong correlation.
I mean, that is like, yeah. Well, I think, there's research now. So like, there's been research, but you could always point that out.
Yeah. It's much more widely acceptable now.
Yeah.
A lot more
it's
people
different
are
now.
But yeah, a few years ago, people still had no idea, and they thought you were just a weirdo.
Yeah, we were all the early adapters, dude. You're in that group with us, man. Yeah. We were like anybody, I would say anybody who started like around 2015, 2016, right around there.
Yeah.
We were ahead of the
trend.
Wave, the big wave.
Ahead of the trend.
So proud of that.
But yeah, so he was being fed like French fries from McDonald's, Go-Gurt packets and juice boxes and stuff like that. And as much as I hated it, I could only try and like shine light on like he doesn't need all this sugar. So I was able to like at least flip him on certain things, like instead of drinking like Kool-Aid, let's do like vitamin waters or something like that don't have. So it was slow, and then by the time he was like 3.5, and I had all my success from keto, I just pushed it. I was whatever, guys. He's doing it now.
Beautiful.
And he was still really young, so it wasn't like a big kickback. I feel like it's probably a lot harder if I was to try and start him now from a standard American diet. But it was really good because the whole time that he's known about it, he's just been learning. Like, he tries to teach other kids about carbs and sugars and stuff like that. So it's really incredible, like, because I didn't know what a fucking carb was until I was 20.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, my kids can...
They can have some high-level conversations.
Oh, yeah. Desmond will be like, let me tell you about LDL.
That's awesome. But yeah, so it's really cool for him to, like, have this knowledge set and stuff like that. And there was no kickback from him because he was too young. The kickback was mostly from other families or family members, and they don't know. So you you let them talk, and you try not to get into an argument with them.
And what do they say? What do they say now?
Oh, they still don't like it. Like, wow. Like, his mom is fine, especially now that like I've pushed past like such dogmatic like carnivore. When I was like pretty anal about carnivore, she was like, "Why can't you have some vegetables?"
Yeah.
And now I'm like, all right, but they better be cooked vegetables.
Yeah. Cook them well.
Pickled, cooked, steamed, something. No,
you know what?
raw.
The funny part about the vegetable thing, because most parents have a hard time getting their kids to eat vegetables, when our kids, like, because we went through that little dogmatic carnivore stage, to them, vegetables is like
a treat.
Ooh, what's this?
Yeah, like Desmond will be like, "Can you buy us some peppers this week? Can you get us some
broccoli?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I can get you some Brussels sprouts or some broccoli." Because like when I go to the carnivore, I'm still mostly carnivore. Like when I go to the grocery store, I'm like focused on like, what meat am I getting? And I kind of forget. I honestly forget sometimes. So the kids, it's just funny how that works. So I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you, but like it's just funny because like the vegetables is like something fun for them now, where they're like, "Oh."
Yeah, it's
and I'm like, guys, how do you do it? Don't force them, and then make.
Yeah. Like when we started reintroducing vegetables, he was like, mashed cauliflower is amazing.
Yeah,
he loves it, and onions. Like I wouldn't do onions on my burgers, like, because at one point I was really reactive to them, and then I just never added them back in to find out if I was still reactive to them. So I was hardcore. Other than seasonings, man, I wasn't doing anything. So when we started adding things back in, he's like, "This is great."
Yeah.
Dude, that's so great.
So easy to please.
Yeah, and right now we're on like a mini food discovery tour kind of thing. I'm teaching him all different cuisines. So like right now his favorite food is like traditional like Mexican tacos.
Oh yeah.
We've got a place in Cocoa Beach, and they've got tripe tacos, tongue tacos, all kinds of tacos, goat.
Ooh.
That sounds good.
And they're so good. So that's like his favorite. He's been asking for that like a lot since he tried it.
Dude, I love that.
That is awesome. And so what about because again, we're always getting asked, and so it's nice to hear different parents, different opinions besides ours. But since he is like, he's not, you are splitting the time with him, so does he like, what about like birthday parties and stuff like that? Does he kind of go ham on those days, or not even? He doesn't even
No,
really
yeah.
care?
Like when he goes to a birthday party, he says, he asks, is like, "Is that like normal cake? Is that like sugar cake?" He's like, "No, I can't have sugar," because that's out of all like the allowances and stuff that I have allowed back in, sugar's not one of them unless it's like in something naturally.
Yeah, like
That's
a fruit.
Like, yeah, so like snacks like that. I think I let him try a bite of cornbread when we were at the barbecue place.
Oh, yeah.
Probably because our boys had two cornbreads each, because I gave them ours and they had their own.
Yeah, that's exactly why he sat down with Dean and Desmond and they were eating. And he turns at me and he's like, "What's this?"
Oh man, we're bad.
Cornbread.
Yeah, and it's funny.
It's funny because for the longest time, Danny really thought they were gluten free, and I'm like, "No, dude." I'm like, "It's not made from corn. Like, it is corn, but it's still bread.
Cornmeal.
It's cornbread."
Yeah.
So unless you made it yourself, it's definitely got gluten in it.
Because we used to make cornbread and you put gluten in it when you were.
What do you think Jiffy is?
Yeah, that was back in the day. Yeah, that was back in the day.
Yeah, that was before.
Dang, that
dude, this cornbread was so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah, but it was.
It tasted great, but it's like,
I was gonna say something about the kids. What we just noticed. Our next door neighbor is Puerto Rican. She brings us the bomb food for our kids every day. So like she takes care of their lunches, and it's interesting because there's always going to be a meat, and then there's going to be like a vegetable and like maybe rice and beans and things like that.
Rice.
And these kids will always eat their meat, and then they'll eat a little bit of the rice and beans. They'll eat a little bit of the vegetables, but it's like if you weigh, like there's still a lot of weight on that plate.
They leave me a mountain of rice.
But everything that matters, the most important part, the meat, is always gone, which is it's that strong foundation.
Well, yeah, because they've got like our kiddos, like they've got their hunger signals. They're healthy, you know what I mean? So they're getting healthy hunger signals. So when our kids are hungry, they know what's going to fill them up. Like they know. I'm like, yeah, rice, that's cute. I mean, you could eat the rice, but you're going to be starving. You're not going to be full.
Yep.
So they know, like they eat their meat. Today they didn't even have too much meat on their plate, and Dean asked me for a salmon burger because he's like, "What is this rice?" He's like, "Where's my protein?" Like even like he recognized that something was missing.
Yeah.
From their plate. So it's like teaching them.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and teaching them like how to form a good plate of food, where of course the way that we're taught, it's like loaded up with carbs, this much protein, and then
the size of your face.
The size of your face is carbs. Yeah. Where we tell, like for us, it's like start with your meat, eat your meat first.
And we actually call meat food. So it's like eat your food first, which is like the meat. And then everything else.
And like eat the decorations after.
Yeah.
That's what I do too. Like I'm like, no, you can't just keep eating like just a side. Like you need food, like actual food. And that's that's the meats, and so he knows.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Mauda says, burgers are sides, eggs are sides. Those are all.
Bacon is a side.
Yeah, those are all sides.
Those are side dishes.
Nice.
Yeah, like when I go to the restaurant, I'll get a burger, like burger patty sides.
Yeah.
Like you got a burger patty you can just throw on in there.
Yeah.
I love that. So, all right. So let's talk about your cookbook because we're so pumped to try out these recipes. It's called The Ultimate Carnivore Cookbook, and you teamed up with the Bio-Optimizers to write it. So how did that come about, and what can people expect to find in it?
Yeah, so it was really awesome. The partnership with Bio-Optimizers has just been great, to be honest. Like, I've had all the creative freedom I could really ask for, and as well as input into the book. I worked my ass off making all these recipes, man. And a lot of them are nose to tail based. So there's tons of organ meat recipes in there. And there's a lot of recipes that are just a lot of fun for like the family too. So it's really just something that I'm really proud of, and getting everything produced correctly into the book was something that took a lot of effort on my part and on Bio-Optimizer's production team.
Dude, I'm sure, because you gotta put out a recipe that people are gonna be able to replicate. And so, like, you got to get your quantities right. That must have been, but I guess with a lot of these recipes, you had already done that trial and error process already. So it's like, all right, I got this one. Were there any of them any interesting stories about, like, things that you wanted to try that were new that, like, oh, this one's not going to work out? Maybe like you found like another way to do it.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. So most of the recipes actually, I hadn't done before. So yeah, I'd probably only had say 25 recipes that I was like, I know this works and I want this in the book.
And there's 75. How many are there?
I think in total it's like 72 is what I think the number we put on the cover.
Wow. So 2/3 of it was new. Brand new. Yeah.
And I had to really, really work for them, man. These things, most of them didn't work out the first time. It was a lot of trial and error. So like there is, to say just one of the simpler ones that took a million tries to get right were like making the corn dog batters.
Oh wow, they look so good, man.
Yeah.
And so the corn dog batter I use in a couple different spots in the book, in a couple different recipes. Like I've got pate corn puffs.
Ooh.
That sounds
amazing. So it's basically like just like a little corn nugget, but inside is liver pate.
That sounds amazing.
And those things are so good. And then I've also got.
Are those fried?
Yeah, they're deep fried.
Ooh, that sounds amazing.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, so the dough, I think one person has tried to recreate the recipe in the air fryer, and I think it came out all right. But otherwise, I've never done it in an air fryer. I always deep fry it.
Do you use a deep fryer, or are you just pan frying?
Oh no, I go like a really big heavy pot, and I just load it up with beef tallow.
Beautiful, awesome.
So, and like I said, that dough took forever to like be able to wrap it around something like a dog, and get it into the fryer without it just like falling apart. It was nuts. So that took so much time to figure out and like to get the techniques right.
Yeah, because it has to be right. It has to be dense, but then it also has to hold together. If it's
Exactly.
really dense, then it's thick, and then it'll just fall off with the weight of it when you stick it in.
Exactly. And when you're making it, you have to make it a couple times so you know what could go wrong. So you can address that for the person who's trying to recreate it from the book. They're like, okay, if it's sticky, you got to use a little bit of water, and you want to close off the ends real tight, or it's going to do this. And like, you have to drop it into the fryer, and then after like a second or so, you have to roll it over to the other side, or the dough starts to separate. It's just like things that you learn over trial and error. So even if something worked out the first time, I had to make it a couple of times just to know what would go wrong or not. So that was nuts. And probably one of the things I was like most proud of, that was something I really wanted to do, and it was really difficult to pull off, was like the beef Wellington.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's
amazing.
monstrous, dude.
I've seen it. It looks amazing.
That's like epic mealtime.
Yeah.
Right there, bro.
Epic mealtime.
You crushed that, man.
I appreciate it, man. It was so hard because like you had to make the pate, you had to get the bacon chunks, you had to get the tenderloin cut just right, and form the dough around it just right, and cook it for the perfect amount of temperature to get the steak to be the right temperature.
Yeah, because there's lots of things in there, and then for some of them to get cooked, then you got like an overcooked steak.
Exactly.
That's brutal.
It was nuts. But overall, like I'm so proud of like the things that I did in that book. And there's recipes that are really adventurous and like hard to pull off, like the beef Wellington. And then there's simple ones like a simple like waffle pizza. So there's stuff for like everybody in there. And I broke it down into 3 sections. So there's like the main dishes, there's like sides, which I include like a bread recipe, a tortilla recipe, and I think there's French fries, they're halloumi French fries.
Oh my gosh, I love halloumi. So good.
Yeah, I love it.
And then I've got sauces, so like some dipping sauces, like a mayo, ranch, hollandaise. And then I also have a dessert section.
Ooh, dessert. I haven't looked at that. I got to see that because Cody let us look at it ahead of time. I haven't even looked at that. I'm going to check that out, dude. That's
so amazing.
Are any of them, are they sweet?
Oh yeah, they're super sweet.
Okay.
So
Nice.
so those are like the carnivore-ish.
Yeah.
So because like some people will be like super sticklers about sweeteners.
We've kind of come like, well, for the most part, we don't have anything like that.
I just prefer honey or something. I just don't like the way they taste sometimes. It depends. I'll still try it out, and a lot of them do mess my gut up. That's the thing.
Me too. Like erythritol crushes me.
Danny should not ever have a sweetener, like literally ever in his whole life. But
not a good thing.
But no, I'm actually okay sometimes with erythritol. Like it's fine in the ketones for some reason. Sometimes in the foods.
Yeah, because
I don't know
it's
what
small
it is.
amounts.
Maybe that's what it is, because
the foods
maybe it's just the
usually
larger
have
amounts.
like 20, 30 grams.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, when it's ridiculous like that's danger zone for sure.
Yeah, like it's just better to eat,
just
eat the sugar.
Like 5 or 6, I'm pretty good. Honey, I don't know. My blood sugar doesn't react super well with honey for some reason.
I gotta test it.
Jamie,
I haven't tested. I should test honey.
I probably, because I've eaten so much honey, like in my lifetime and even in the last year.
He'll go through a jar like easy. I'm just like, what happened?
We go through honey and like
no.
It's interesting.
No, we.
Oh, you're right. Me and the boys.
It's like saying we're pregnant.
Me and the boys.
You go through honey.
Yeah, it's like saying we're pregnant. Yeah, but like Jamie and I did like our CGM experiment, and honey affected her like crazy, and it affected me much less. But then rice affected me more than it affected her. So it's interesting.
Oh, that's interesting, because typically rice is like super benign for most people,
and especially him being like Hispanic.
Actually, was it rice? Yeah, it was rice.
I think it was rice. Did you test it? Just curious. Did you test it cold and hot? Because you know that when when it's cold, it changes.
I've tested. Yeah, it's like what do you call
it?
It turns it into a resistant starch. Yeah,
it turns into resistant.
I've tested when I did like 2019. I did like that summer. I did the whole summer like the weekly carb up, and I like with sushi. It was I would crush like 4 whole rolls, and yeah. But then it was like an hour later. I was fine. It was crazy. It was
that flexibility.
Yeah, I feel like things like that, like honey and stuff. It's probably something that, like anything, your body can just build up to. Mm-hmm. Like if you haven't had it, obviously you're going to be sensitive to it. People all the time tell me like they're lactose intolerant or something like that, and then they never have dairy, so they complain about like the random time that they do, it reacts. Well, your body doesn't need the enzymes because you're never putting it in there. So when you do, it doesn't have the enzymes that break it down.
Yeah.
Oh, so true. So true. So true. And that's another thing. They need to go raw because a lot of people with who think they have lactose intolerance, they don't. They're just eating. They're having pasteurized milk, and they've done a
there's
studies.
Nothing in it.
Yeah, they've done studies where they take
sugar water.
They took a whole I don't remember how many people. It was a small. It was a
survey that they did with it was like farmers, like dairy.
Yeah, it was like farmers, and it was like maybe 40 people, and they all said that they had lactose intolerance and they were sensitive to milk. 70% of them didn't react to raw milk.
Nice. Yeah, raw milk's great. We were going through like a gallon or so a week here, but I started
I'll get
it. It's also pricey. We just, our farmer John, you've met John, right? You've gotten stuff from John.
Yeah, he's got that market that I met you at that one time, right?
Yeah, he's not at the market anymore. He's just at the farm now.
Okay.
So he's been there for like a year and a half. He went back to the farm. So we started with him being at the farm. Then he went to the market and it was awesome. But then like he's back at the farm now.
Because people like going to the farm. Like that's the whole thing, right? Like when he was in the market.
That's the fun part about picking up like raw milk is going to the farm.
So when he was at Chuck's and he was at the market, he's paying rent, and then people are showing up like, what's this? This isn't a farm. Like I expected a farm.
Yeah.
You know, because like imagine like people are looking for the farm experience. They're there with their kids and they're like, what is this store?
Dude, he has like a container. It's either it's a container, right?
It's amazing. It looks like a pod or something.
Like the container is the store. So like you walk into the container, it's got all his his freezers and stuff.
It's genius.
Yeah. And so he just gave us the hookup, like he gave us his contact. It's for A2 cows, like, so it's raw A2 milk. So we're gonna definitely get some. The boys, especially Desmond, Dean probably too. I don't know, does Dean like it?
Yeah, you can
try. I know Desmond loves raw cream and raw milk and raw everything.
I don't love all of the raw milk though, like not all of it. I feel like some of it tastes better than.
Well, that was that one farm that
the best milk I've ever gotten was
Josh.
Was in Miami.
Better
My
than
Healthy
Josh?
Food Club. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that was Josh's.
No, it wasn't. My Healthy Food Club is completely different.
Yeah, that was our co-op. Didn't we get Josh's?
No, that was here.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways,
when it comes to remembering things, I'm good to go.
Sometimes I'm really good. Sometimes no.
No, I'm very good.
So, dude, anything else that you want to talk about the book, or actually, definitely, when is it out? Where can people find it?
Yeah,
we're gonna link to it. But just tell us anything else you want to share about the book, because this is really why I wanted to bring Cody on, because he let me take a look at it and I was so excited. And so awesome. How many like weeks, months have I been bugging you like, hey, when is the book done? When is the cookbook done? So anything else you want to share about it? Because I think this is going to be great for people.
Yeah, so it'll be available through Bioptimizers. The official release date is still, we're trying to just make sure that the release is as perfect as it can be. So we're thinking it's going to be early April.
Oh, dude, that's a few weeks.
That's amazing.
Probably by the time this comes out.
Yes, that'd be fantastic. So hopefully it'll come out then. It'll be available through Bioptimizers. I'll have a link on my page. I believe it will also be available through Amazon. So we're really going to try and make it as readily available to the public as we can, because I know that there's some other carnivore cookbooks out there, but I really feel like this is like the most inventive, especially when you think of like a family aspect. So
it looks fun.
We're really
I'm
just
excited.
Yeah, I'm pumped for it, and I can't wait for it, and to really hear the feedback and response that everybody has to it.
Awesome, dude.
So exciting.
Yeah, when it comes out, we're going to get it. Guys, we have this thing already, but we're getting it just to support our buddy.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe we could do something where we do at least one recipe a week and just talk about it or something. Like, we're not going to share, not sharing it, but just talk about what it actually is and show them the pictures and then be like,
recipe from the cookbook.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's what it's all about. It's the variety. You know, like the boys, if we're giving them a variety, they're loving it. Like they're very compliant. You know, if they have like maybe a few meat choices, most of the time it's good even with just a few meat choices. Sometimes if we give them a side, then that's even like more. But then it's like it's just having the option.
Yeah, they just want choices.
It's just the fact that they haven't, because they still gravitate towards the staples.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it's about, man. It's all these recipes, they're packed with protein and fats, but they're also super fun. Like they're going to give you the same feeling of a slice of pizza or a corn dog from a street vendor.
I really want that corn dog.
Yep.
That's like the first thing I'm going to try.
Let's make it this
week. Like I really want a corn dog.
Let's do it this week. Let's do it like on Friday or something.
Oh yeah, the kids will love it too. That is awesome.
Well,
thank you so much.
Yeah, man. So we know we got Goat Fit Nutrition. Is there any underscore or anything?
Yeah, there's a underscore in between fit and nutrition.
So Goat Fit underscore nutrition. Any other places they could find you, or that's the main place?
I'm on Facebook as well, Cody Zulfer. So find me. If I know some people, they don't do the Instagram thing. So if you want to link up and contact me, any questions about anything, or I'll have links to the book on there as well. So
I love it.
Find me on Instagram, Facebook. I did a TikTok, but
okay. I was gonna say, listen, I'm gonna just throw it out there.
Oh, dude.
But food.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to figure out how to make them.
Okay. I'll reach out to you. But food on TikTok is it okay? TikTok is niche. Is very niche oriented. I don't know if you follow her in the community, Low Carb Love. She kills it with everything, Myra. But I saw her start her TikTok. She started after me. I'm like, this girl. She started after me. She started in quarantine, and she's already up to almost 500,000 followers. And it's just the awesome food. Like, it's just very clickbaity. It's 15 seconds. So while you're making those recipes, if you could somehow like figure out and like how to edit. I'm gonna try to find something to send you.
Just camera of it, because then you do voiceover later.
Yeah, you could do voiceovers later. I'm gonna send you Myra's page too, so you can check it out. Yeah, and kind of get ideas. Awesome. Because the whole thing is just really kind of getting their attention the first 3 seconds, and the way she does it is,
dude, she does it.
Gosh, she's got it.
She crunches into the final product. Either it's crunchy or you see it.
I'm gonna send you one of her videos. You're gonna be
and then you're like, I want to know what that is.
It's millions and millions of views. Millions of views. It's ridiculous. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, and that's the thing with TikTok. Like anything can happen. Like you could post like 20 videos and you're like, oh my gosh, nobody cares. And then one day. It's always the dumbest thing too. It's always the stupidest.
It's really true. Thing. It's like 1 million views in a day.
All of a sudden, you're like, okay, I went viral. That's amazing. So yeah, I think it would be awesome. But we'll put all of that stuff in the show notes so people can follow you. And you guys need to follow. You guys need to go look at this feed. If you're fasting, I don't suggest that you look at it just yet, but just write it down for later.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I'm fasting, I don't want to see your page. I'm like, what is this?
It's true. It's true because Cody's like, I love it. It's like all of us have been elevating our game, and the same thing with you. Your pictures look better than they did at the beginning. You know, it's like you're getting better.
You learn.
Yeah, no, it's awesome to watch that progression.
I love it,
brother.
Yeah, definitely. I really appreciate it, guys. And like I said, like it's pretty full circle seeing how Danny, you're the first keto guy I ever met.
I love it.
Yeah, I love that, dude. I freaking love it, man. It was a pleasure having you on, man. It took too long. But we had an excuse with this book, man. And so that's it. Podcast alumni.
Yeah, I'm stoked, man.
Well, thanks, brother. Everybody, go get that book. It's the Ultimate Carnivore Cookbook. We're going to link it in the show notes. And go follow GoatFit_nutrition. And we will see you guys on the next show.
Thanks, guys.